Welcome to Nitpicking Nerds, and it's time for another tier list.
This time, utility lands of Commander.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds, bringing you daily Commander content. I got a few people to thank. First off, our affiliate, TCG Player, because they're so awesome that when you use our affiliate link in the description, they're going to give us a kickback on the order, courtesy of them. You spend no extra money and you help out the channel. Also,
a couple of sponsors that we got. We got Dragon Shield. You know, they sponsor gameplay and they sponsor our channel. They're really, really awesome. Use our affiliate link to buy the best sleeves in the multiverse.
Good sleeves. You thought it was gone and it's back.
Oh, God, it's been so long. And also our other sponsor, Moxfield.com. They support this whole entire channel. Stay tuned for Sneak Attack Ad.
And happy birthday to everyone's birthdays today. You thought it was just, they're just selling out. Like, no. We want to wish you a happy birthday. So now what do you think?
We don't get money for wishing you a happy birthday. That's just not something that happens.
America is not paying us.
America is not paying us. Though if you want to sponsor us, America, we will still do happy birthday wishes for money.
Uncle Sam.
Yes. So let's get into this. This is a tier list. We got a bunch of stuff here. I mean, I guess there's not really much to get into. We got a bunch of lands, 26 in total. We're going to give them ratings S through poop. S is obviously the best. Poop is obviously the poopiest.
Sort of their power level in Commander. How good are they in Commander? This is all utility lands. The only criteria for this is we're using them for something other than just tapping them for regular old mana. And I'm super glad Amber decided to lay down and not ruin the entire shot.
Yeah, so now we got a Shrinky Dink, right?
Yeah.
As usual.
Now we are smaller. Well, I'd have the computer closer, but Amber is sprawled out like a maniac trying to paw at my stomach. So we're going to go into the order of alphabetical. It's Alchemist Refuge is first. I said that normal. Shut up.
Yeah, that's how any normal human with no script in front of them named Beezy would do that exact take at that exact time.
Yeah, what's the first one?
Yeah, like you said, Alchemist Refuge.
Totally.
So, Alchemist Refuge is a land that for green, blue, tap it, you give everything in your hand flash until end of turn. All right, this is a pretty decent land, but it's niche. I don't think you just want to throw this in every deck. You either want to have tons of extra mana so that 3 mana is not going to be a big deal to you. Tapping this in 2 other lands isn't going to be that huge of a deal. Or you want a deck that absolutely operates amazing at instant speed.
Yeah, this Wombo combos with Seaboard Muse. If you're playing that card and you're green-blue, you probably also just want this as a free roll. Mm-hmm. Build your own Prophet of Crucifix. That is a busted interaction. So if you've got that, good for you. I want to give this like a C level, where it's really good if you put in the work, but it's a lot of work to put in.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It is a fine card, and it definitely has homes. It's not an auto-include by any means, but it is a good Magic card for sure.
Here's a borderline auto-include, though. It's Bojuka Bog. ETB, tapped, and it exiles somebody's graveyard. For no mana, well, kind of 1 mana, you get to put in a land slot a spell-like effect that's super underwhelming and sometimes hard to find a spot for. It's just graveyard hate. This can ruin people, and it's a land.
Yeah, I mean, this card is absolutely incredible when you add in any way to fetch it up, too, because now on demand you have it with anything like a crop rotation or things that search up
Knight of the Reliquary?
Yeah, things that search up non-basic lands. It gets really, really powerful. The entering tapped is a weakness of this card, and it's definitely not an auto-include as you move into really high-power Commander. I think it's an A. I think it's very, very good, and I'm playing it in the level I'm playing this all the time.
I like A.
But I like that it does fall off as you move into 8, 9s, and 10s.
Even like not CDH, even if you're just like, hey, I'm trying to execute my game plans, like there's probably just better ways to just avoid playing a tap land so you can cast your spells on time. Next, we got Buried Ruin. Taps for colorless, or you can pay 2 tap sack to get an artifact back from your graveyard. So obviously, we are only playing this in either budget decks with a few artifacts or just dedicated, no budget artifact decks.
This card is okay. That's where I'm at with it. I don't hate it at all.
Solid.
It's solid, but I think it's just a budget card. I'm not playing it too often outside of budget. Very niche decks. There is going to be the certain artifact decks where this does just fit either way. I think I'm on C with it too. Just like this isn't a bad card by any stretch of the imagination. But I'm not super excited. I'm not looking for it. I don't. As soon as I start building artifact decks, I'm like Buried Ruins. I'm like, maybe if I not 3 colors, maybe if I'm a 2 or 1 color deck, I can afford it.
Well, if you talk about when are we actually using these cards, Bojuka Bog, right away. It does this thing right away. Alchemist Refuge, doesn't really matter. It's just going to sit there and chill as a land. Use it whenever you need. Buried Ruins kind of like only in the late game when you have a dead artifact that's worth getting back and you're okay losing a land. It's like not every time you're going to be activating Buried Ruin.
Yeah. Next we have Commander Beacon. This one taps for colorless, obviously, or you can tap Sacrifice it to put your commander from your command zone to your hand. I like this card. I don't think it goes in every single deck, but most decks are focused around their commander.
Turns out.
And commander, obviously, die as the game progresses, and they cost more and more and more. So skipping the tax one turn is actually pretty good. I think this is a B. I like
B.
I think it's a super solid card. I think it's an overplayed card because I think players just throw it into too many decks here, there, and don't really think about it. But yeah, I think it just it has a lot of homes to commander for sure.
If your commander's 5 or up mana, you could really use this. It's just going to help you kind of function as like a ritual. Where it's like, hey, I'll sacrifice my land to add like 4 mana, and then I don't get to use it again. But I'm going to play my commander, and now my deck can do its thing again in the late game when I might have not had a chance without this card. This is a pretty sweet one.
It's kind of like Buried Ruin, but you don't have to put the mana in, and there's always a commander you want to get back.
Right, it's gonna matter.
It's going to matter.
Let's go to, this next one. Field of Ruin, if you couldn't tell by the artwork. You 2-tap sack, you destroy a non-basic land. Then, every player, you destroyed 1 land, every player gets to go find a basic and put it in regularly, which would be untapped. This math just doesn't check out for me. It's similar to the Arcane Denial math, except we're giving away lands, not cards. This is so much different.
Yeah, we're giving away lands, and I'm not a fan of this card whatsoever. You destroy a land, but you're ramping 2 of your opponents. I'm just not in for this. This is just the easiest poop tier I've ever seen it.
Yeah, we are historically just not fans of Field of Ruin at all. I think there's better ways to go. There's better ways to do it, to destroy a land on this list.
Just find a Ghost Quarter. If you're thinking if Field of Ruin's here, no, just get Ghost Quarter, get Tectonic Edge, stuff like that.
Yeah, be down. It's fine to be down 1 for 1, then ramp 2 people and have the other person break even. It was just not good rates. How about the best Magic card ever printed? Field of the Dead, as long as you have 7 differently named lands. Landfall, make a 2/2 zombie. I love this card. I play it every single chance I get, and it's not even an exaggeration.
I do think BZ plays it too much. I think mono decks tend to struggle to play it pretty often. But it's not a bad card at all. It's actually a great card. It's an amazing card. I'm playing it in my 2, 3, 4 color decks, sometimes 5 color, depending on what the mana base looks like. I guess I'm playing it in my 2 and 3 color decks every single time. And as I go to 4 color, I look if I can afford the land or not.
We'll see. Is there synergy?
But 2 and 3 colors, I feel like this is an auto-include. I'm going in on it every single time. It's just free creatures from a land, which is when this land is working and going, it provides more than any other land on this list. It's not even close.
It's like the deck building cost and the in-game cost is so low, and the fact that it gives you anything at that point is just amazing. I love this card. I would give it S, but if Cherries wants to bump it down to A,
it's an S.
All right.
Woo! It's absolutely an S. I just want to be very clear that I think this is a 2 and 3 color card,
like a staple.
But yeah, like I'm 2 and 3 colors. I think that there is no struggle to play this. It is a free roll, and you will not struggle to hit your Field of Dead lands. I think in 1 color decks, you do have to weaken your mana base to play this, and I think in 4 and 5 color decks, you really got to make sure you can play it.
Right. In 1 color, it is doable, but you really have to tinker with your mana base. You can't even play 13 basics. You gotta go real ham.
I really think you weaken your mana base when you add Field of Dead to a 1 color deck.
But it's cooler. So let's go to Geier Sanitarium, another one of my favorite lands. 2-tap, each player draws and discards. Now we are symmetrical on resources. However, we are hoping to be the best deck at discarding or filling our graveyard or doing whatever, and we're going to need these cards. We also control when it happens, so we can do it at the end step, and so we're the first person to use the new card. Also, nobody's actually up a card, so it's not like Field of Ruin where everybody's up a land.
Yeah, I'm not as high in this one as you. I think this one is fine, and I think it's cool. But
I just think it's a good card. It's not busted. It's not going to win games. It's just a nice little thing when you have nothing better to do.
So where I'm at is I'm at D. I think this card is just overall fine, and it does have some synergy decks where it feels like a fine card. But I think the fact that everyone is looting and that this is such a group huggy type effect tends to bring it down. And like you said, yes, you're breaking the symmetry a bit by discarding, but sometimes you don't discard something you want in your graveyard. Sometimes you're just activating, and all those times it feels like this is just kind of a colorless land that's bringing down your mana base a little bit. It's not a bad card at all, but I think it's a D.
I will settle, but I think maybe I'd put it in low C. Let's go to Ghost Quarter. Wow, if you want to destroy a land, this is going to be sacrificing itself. So you're down a land, and they're going to break even, but you turn whatever non-basic into a basic. If they even have one, they probably do. So it's kind of like a weird strip mine where you're turning it into a basic. this is for emergencies. If there is a Gaia's Cradle, Cabal Coffers, Field of the Dead maybe, Valakut, basically anything else on this list, and you have to kill it, here you go. Otherwise, it just sits there and it's like, meh, colorless wastes.
Yeah, there are a lot of lands that just require answering, and I think it's absolutely necessary that every deck should play at least one form of land hate.
Right. Some way to destroy lands.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Ghost Quarter. Obviously, it's lower on this list because we have better options. This isn't what we're aiming for. I think it's a D.
I like D because there's better options, and the effect isn't like fantastic because you're just down a land.
Yeah, but I want to be clear that it is super important to have this effect in your deck, that I'm willing to put a Ghost Quarter in my deck because I realize I need to answer Cabal Coffers sometimes, and I might not have that. So let's have it in my land slot for once in a while when it comes up.
Right, but this is definitely one of the ones, maybe the one on this list, you'll use the least.
Yeah, that is true. That might be true. What's next?
Now that I've moved the computer closer to me, the next one is a land that's near and dear to Joe Cherry's heart. Probably our second favorite land next to Field of Ruin. It's Halimar Depths. Blue land enters tapped, and when it enters, you look at the top 3 cards in your library, and you rearrange them.
I think this is one of the worst lands ever printed. I think it's really terrible. It's tapped and it enters. It doesn't really give you anything right away. This compares to Bojuka Bug. Bojuka Bug's giving you an effect right away. It's doing good things. This comes in, it looks at the top 3. You can rearrange them, but that's not really affecting anything unless you have shuffle effects. I am not interested in this. Yes, I understand that there are niche decks where it's like, I really care about the top card of my library, like the odds person. When you like attack, if you have an odd card, it's like, sure, maybe it's okay there. I'm still in poop tier with this overall.
I feel like a tap land, if it's not fixing your mana, kind of has to give you roughly a card's worth of things. You know, on this list, we have Bojuka Bog. That's basically a card's effect. We have Field of Ruin. That's way more than one card's effect. And this is like a quarter of a card. This is like so not worth playing a tap land. Like my deck could just function better by me including a dual land or me including just an untapped land so I can play my spells sooner. I don't think looking at the top 3 is just worth it at all unless you can somehow get a card out of it in like these Yennet decks. But even then, you're still sacrificing something real by having a tap land. And it's just, man, we hate this card too. It's just a poop tier, obviously, right?
It's a poop tier.
You want to go below? Field of Ruin?
No, I think it's better than Field of Ruin.
Okay, we'll go above.
I think it has more homes than Field of Ruin. It's like, I think you play this in Nixilis.
It's just like
suboptimal. The Unshackled, and that's it. That's it. That's literally it.
Why do we have 25 Obnixiluses?
I don't know, because people love Obnixilus. I heard he's ruining standard right now.
He's everyone's favorite villain who's never won a battle.
But is ruining standard.
Right, and it's potentially ruining standard. Next, we got Hall of Heliod's Generosity, which is actually Hall of Heliod's Generosity, or Volrat's Stronghold, or Academy Ruins, or all 3. Whatever you think. They're kind of just the same card, but for different decks. Why is that, Cherries?
Because one does enchantments, one does artifacts, and one does creature, and it takes one of those types out of your graveyard and puts it on top of your library. It's all about the respective decks, but in the respective decks, these are all insanely strong, like very, very good. I think the worst one is the creature deck because we can recur creatures a lot easier than having to put them on top and draw them. But with the other 2, there are just locks, like mini locks where it's like, yeah, you can destroy my, like, let's just say, for example, Ensnaring Bridge, just some weird example.
But it'll come back next turn?
But it'll come back next turn every time, over and over and over again. It's like, no matter what my little lock piece is, you can't really get rid of it as long as I have the mana to get it back.
Like Humility with Heliod's Generosity. It's like, you're just not going to play creatures.
Yeah, exactly. So I think these are A's. I think that they're a little niche. They obviously only go in your artifact decks, exactly your heavy creature decks, or exactly your enchantment decks. But when you reach that and you're in the right colors, thumbs up. These cards are all great.
They sit and play. They come in untapped, and they just make it so that your most critical pieces are not really dead. They're gonna have to double tap you somehow, because if you're required on having some kind of big enchantment in play, they have to make sure it's dead, and that you can't just replay it next turn, because that's going to stop them from killing it in the first place. And then sometimes you're just directing removal elsewhere, and that's just brutal.
Exactly. I think these cards very, very strong in their respective decks.
Yeah, we could talk about them all day. High Market, it taps and sacrifices a creature, and you gain life, or it just makes colorless. This is just like a staple. It goes in every deck that wants to sacrifice creatures, because sometimes you don't have a sack outlet, and you can get a mini little one-time sack, and maybe, I have a Grim Horror Specs out. I'll draw a card. I have a Pitiless Plunderer. I'll make a treasure. It's just going to have a spell-like effect, For sacrificing a creature, 1 time.
Yeah, and it's untapped. I mean, this taps for a Wingding, comes in untapped. That's super important to what makes this card so great. I don't think this card's busted or broken. There's a better version on this list.
But it's so useful. Is it an A?
I was thinking top of B.
All right.
I think the fact that it's colorless and the effect doesn't actually give you anything, but it is doing something you're not. Bottom of A. Bottom of A.
Bottom of A. Yeah, because it does give you something. It's going to be like a little mini spell in the decks. It's it.
It is. Yeah, it is definitely a good card because any deck that you put this in, you're going to care about it. It doesn't even have to say Game 1 Life. It could say tap, sacrifice a creature.
Right.
And we'd be happy with this card.
The life is fine. It's something to have. Homeward Path, untapped, colorless. Tap, each player gains control of all creatures they own. This is like so far. I think this is the first one we got besides Ghost Quarter and Field of Ruin that is just not proactive at all. It is 100% reactive, and we can assume with Ghost Quarter and Field of Ruin that our opponents are playing lands we have to destroy. But I don't think it's a fair assumption, unless you're metagaming, which we are not, to say my opponents are going to gain control of my creatures.
I will say that gaining control and playing my opponent's creatures is more common than you see. But I think this one's interesting to me because I've been playing more with random people lately, and I've seen players getting other people's cards. Like, it just randomly happens. Like sometimes they have an Atali. Atali fits in a lot of decks here and there, budget, non-budget. Just little things happen. But you also return other people's creatures. So if someone is stealing stuff, you're returning it to them. I think it's interesting. I don't know how good this card is. I've wanted to test it, but I never end up putting it in the deck. I think if you're one color and you have all those utility slots where you're like, I have, one color gets like 10.
You could maybe play up to 10.
10, 15 utility slots. Like, you can go crazy in the utility slot. This might be worth it. I'm probably not pushing out the 2 colors. I think it's a D. It's a niche effect, but it can definitely be a meta call.
Yeah, I think if you're metagaming, that's great, but I just never can justify putting this in a deck not knowing what my opponents are going to be playing, especially since it has to just work for everybody. I feel like, if you're in like a tokens deck, maybe you just play Tristani that can regain control of stuff instead of another token maker and make up for it in that slot and not have to put a land into it.
I think your mono white deck could justify it. Your deck
maybe, but it's also opportunity cost.
I mean, but it's not really
because all the other lands I know I want to activate.
Yeah, but don't you still have High Market in that deck? You could cut that. I don't think High Market's that good in that deck anymore.
Sometimes I guess sometimes I'm going to be using it proactively though, and it at least fits with the game plan. I'm always going to be trying to do that, but I'm never going to be not always going to be trying to get my Oketra back from being stolen.
Yeah, but that's fair. I mean, I think that's the kind of opportunity where you can play it.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's go to Inventors Fair. You gain a life if you have Metalcraft on your upkeep. Woohoo! But also at 4 tap sack tutor an artifact, so it's expensive, but it's a tutor.
Yeah, I think this is an easy A. It's a very, very good card. You need to be playing a low number. It's a colorless land like a lot of them on this list. So you have to be playing a low number of colors. You don't really want to be in the 3-4 range. You want to be in the 2 in 1 range, maybe the 3. 3 might be the max you can go.
The reason for that is because your artifacts, though, and a lot of your spells are colorless anyway, so those decks can always play more colorless lands.
Yeah, so I think this land, we picked them up. Like, I remember years ago, we picked up so many of them. Like, this card's good.
It was $1.50, and we're like, this is a really good card.
It's
we need to have these.
Yeah, it's like $5 now, which is really cool. This card it's a tutor in a land slot. There's one other land that does it, and it didn't make this list, Axgard Armory. Yeah. What else is a tutor in a land slot? I mean, besides fetch lands, but those are busted in half.
Yeah, and it's better than, a 4-mana tutor and artifact is a terrible spell. This is a land that becomes a spell when you don't need a land anymore, or you really need a spell.
What did I take out for this? Plains.
Wow.
Okay,
let's
island.
Go.
I took out plains or island. This is such a huge upgrade from that if it's not affecting your color fixing too much.
Yeah, that's great. Karn's Bastion, 4 tap, proliferate, and it comes in untapped and makes it colorless. This land has been fine. I think the activation cost is a bit expensive for what you're getting, which is not a lot. You're getting a loyalty counter on your planeswalkers, which can be good. Maybe you're getting 2 if you got some other peers out, but it is a big cost.
I'm learning that proliferate is a very small effect, and it's not very good. Even in the decks that are focused around counters, I'm just not very interested. Honestly, I'm reaching the point where it's I don't even know if I want to play proliferate cards because the effect is so little. And yeah, I know it's really cool for infect decks. Yeah, that's great because you really want to be proliferating when you're playing infect because it's tough to sneak through the damage. I'm low on this. I'm all the way down in D. I think bottom of D with Homeward Path down there. Yeah, I'm down there. I don't think this is a very good card. I just think proliferating is too tiny of an effect. It's I think it is so tiny. Like
it's not worth 5 mana, is what you're saying.
It's not worth 5 mana, and on top of that, it's just like I don't even know if I want this effect. It's like, is this effect actively good? If I have like 5 different counters, sure, then it's worth the mana. It's like, then my board's insane already.
You're just winning.
Exactly. So it's just feels like this card's almost never good. I think it's very overplayed. It is played highly in Commander.
That's why I like Evolution Sage so much, because that feels like the right rate for Proliferate, which is 3 down payment, but you're going to get guaranteed 1 or 2 or more, and then it's just like, hey, over the course of the game, here's 6 for nothing. And it's just like, that's why I like that card. 5 mana on a land that isn't going to make any colors, not going to be activated very often, just a D. Kessig Wolf Run, X, red, green, tap on your colorless land that enters untapped. Target creature gets +X/+O and gains trample.
Now, I saw Commander B King get lonely in B.
So let's give it a friend.
Yeah, so let's give it a friend. I think this one's an easy B. It's a very good card. It's niche, though. It is a mana sink, though, which is really cool because you don't get those much on lands. Like, you get, it'll let you use some mana. This will let you use all your mana.
This is the only one so far.
In a late game top deck thing where sometimes you end up in those and you're not drawing well and you just have all this mana, you can throw in like 11 mana into this +8/+8 to a creature in trample.
Well, but with Commander damage, it starts to get really scary. People die to this card all the time.
Yes, +8/+0. Yeah, this card is very good. I'm just high on it. I play in a lot of my red-green type decks where I just want to overrun and make sure I can just finish off the game.
Rock solid.
It also makes blocking really hard sometimes. You have to actually do more math. It's like, am I dead if I don't block the right way? Because it's like, I want to just chump block their dumb 8/8, but I can't.
Maze of Ith does not tap for mana, enters untapped, and it taps to remove an attacking creature from combat. So you can't really rely on this tap for mana, obviously, because it just doesn't do that.
Yeah.
So you really have to play it in a spell slot, and sometimes it just doesn't really matter. Some decks don't care about combat. Some decks are going too wide for this to be useful. I never really play this. I know it has niche inclusions where it can combo with certain creatures and untap lands in the attack phase, and then you need an instant speed mana sink to use it. That's cool. That's fine and dandy. You got your Yavimayas and Urborgs, but this isn't a card I ever go to.
Yeah, I don't play in any decks currently, but I keep seeing how good Spire's Vraska is on the backside, and it's making me want to test this a little more. We're playing more combo metas, and Spire's has just been a card where it's like, holy crap. Yeah, more combat metas. We're playing more combat metas, and because we are, Spire's really shines a lot, so obviously, I'm always advocating this not in a land slot. Don't put this in your land slot. You have to put it into a spell slot. But I think if your deck is playing like crop rotation, you add this to a weaponry, a repertoire, where it's like it just makes the deck a little stronger if you can tutor them out. Is it a great card? No, I'm pretty low on it because it doesn't tap for mana. But I think there are more homes for it, and I would like to actually test it. I currently don't have a deck for it.
Yeah, I think I like a Thaumatic Compass is kind of what kills this for me, because how many effects like this do I need in my deck when I'm not specifically crop rotationing? That's most decks don't do that. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, hey, I have one effect of it. I don't need 7. It's like, I think I've mostly just been happy with Thaumatic Compass. Kind of, it's like pseudo ramp, the land taps for mana, kind of just does whatever you want, helps you not miss land drops.
It definitely doesn't do whatever you want.
It does whatever you want. It's an artifact, dude. It triggers prowess. This doesn't trigger prowess, so I just don't play it. You want to just put it in the bottom of D or above Homeward Path or something.
I think I'd put it in the mid D. Yeah,
it's like a weird combo card, 0.01% of the time, and in some decks, hey,
I think
it works well with Sword of Feast and Famine.
Yeah, I think there are homes for this card, and I'd like to test it because Spires of Rex has proven to be so good.
And I think I'm just good with Spires. Let's go to Myriad Landscape. Enters tap, produces colorless, 2-tap sack. Go get 2 basics that share a land type, so not wastes, and put them onto the battlefield tapped. So it's a little rampy ramp, but enters tapped, and it's kind of slow.
Yeah, it's very slow, and I think this is a lower power level card. You're not playing it as you ramp up in power level. It's like tap land, spend 3 mana.
They're tapped.
You're spending a whole turn. They come in tap, then you wait till the next turn, and now you have the mana. I think it's the bottom of C.
Yeah, me too.
There was a lot of negativity to say, that card is decent, though. In any meta where you can afford to take the time with this card, it's very good. You are definitely getting a spell's worth out of this card. You're getting
a rampant growth.
You're literally you're getting a rampant growth, and you're double fixing on colors because you take this colorless land and it transforms into 2 blue or 2 red, whatever combination of those you want.
Yeah, it actually helps you find your colors, unlike some of the other colorless lands who are never going to do that. I really love this card. I love it more than I should because
I agree.
it's just like
I do the same thing.
it's really nifty, especially in a low power on a budget. Totally fine card. You can play it and it'll do work.
When you have time to set up, it's 2 thumbs up, but not every meta gives you a chance to set up.
All right, here's a doozy. Mystic Sanctuary. What an outlier on this cycle. It's kind of a design mistake because it's a land, it's an island, so you can find it. If it enters untapped, which means you have 3 other islands, you get to put an instant or sorcery from your graveyard on top of your library. So this also has loops. This is going to kind of do a little mini. You know what? It's just kind of going to do a little mini Volrath Stronghold type thing impression for instant sorceries.
Yeah, this card is good.
It's an A, right?
It's no, it's an S. This
card
is insane.
It is very.
This card
very
is
good.
so good. It's fetchable. Like I think this card's an A if it's not fetchable.
Because you get to play 5 of them. Oh, I got Pluto Delta, Pluto Delta, Scalding Tarn, and Flooded Strand in my deck. So now I have 4 of these total. It's just always going to be efficient. It's so easy to have 3 islands out, especially if you're mostly we want 1 or 2 colors. But it's trivial, and it's just going to be surprise. You didn't see this coming. Best spell is going to be cast again.
Yeah, and there's loops with this card. Like not only this is a land that has potential game-ending loops, which is actually
Tameshi comes to mind.
I mean, it's stupid. It's stupid how good this card. Oh my god, I didn't even think of Tameshi. Oh my god, this card's stupid.
Tameshi, the moonfolk that bounce lands to get effects. It's just you're just gonna be looping Time Warp. It's like my land is winning me the game. Great.
Yeah, this land is better than Field of the Dead. It definitely is.
Oh,
it definitely goes a bit Field of the Dead. I mean, this card is stupid. Like you said, it's a design mistake.
Yeah.
Like beyond belief. It is. It's a common. Like, get out of here. What a stupid
I just
card.
wanted to fill that cycle. Let's go to Phyrexian Tower. This magic card is also completely nuts. It is a colorless land. Tap, sacrifice a creature, add black, 2 black mana, and the sacrifice is an upside when you want to do that. So it's like, hey, I'm going to kill a creature for you. Okay, cool. That's fine. I'm playing a card that just does that. No. Here's 2 black mana also.
Yeah. Well, like you said, this card's just great. It just is a very, very good card. Easy S.
Easy S. I mean, it's got to be better than Mystic Sanctuary.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I think
let's put it there for fun.
The fact of the matter is, Phyrexian Tower is great. I'm not even gonna I'm easy S tier.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. It can never win you the game like stupid Mystic Sanctuary can. Like, what world do we live in where this is just where this land wins games? Love Phyrexian Tower though.
I'm gonna say that it's close, and we'll just put it above because it's definitely less lame. But when you start with this and you can activate it early, it feels like you just can't lose.
Yeah,
like it just propels you so far ahead. Let's go to Reliquary Tower. Gotta be the most overplayed land in all of Commander, but it does have its uses.
It's good.
Untapped, colorless, no max hand size. That's great. Some decks play this when it is actively bad for them to have no max hand size. But a lot of decks, this kind of functions as weird card draw, so it is kind of a spell. When you draw up to 9 cards on your turn and don't have to discard, it's kind of like you just got to keep 2.
Yes, Reliquary Tower is definitely a good card. I definitely agree with what BZ just said, that this is 100% overplayed. Like, it goes in way too many decks. People are putting it in graveyard decks, and I just don't know what the thought process is there. But that being said, that doesn't take away from how good the card actually is. I think this is a B tier card where it's actually a very good land. But people are just too, it feels like it's, maybe at one time, maybe in, early Commander.
2010.
It was such a free roll, and the opportunity cost was so low. But it's look at these lands on this list. It is a high opportunity cost to put this in, and it's worth it if you're reliably going over on hand size.
Another thing, as you scale up in power level, you don't need 7 cards to win the game. It's really also, not. You don't need to keep 7, or you don't need to keep more than 7 every time. It's fine. We'll close out. But in the mid-rangey battle cruisers type, it's okay, I'll just take everything I can get.
But even on top of what you said, you don't need that many cards to finish it out. You also are those kind of decks don't kind of draw all those cards except for with 2 cards, Ad Nauseam and Necropotence. Those are the only cards that are ever taking you over on hand size like that.
Right, and it's if you got a Consecrated Sphinx, you're probably just winning. It's not like you need to keep those cards. You're good. You're going to have the best 7 in your deck. Rogue's Passage, 4 tap. Target creature's unblockable. Ooh, and this is kind of like a closer or a surprise finisher if you play at the same turn. They think they're safe. You got a big commander. It's like Kessig Wolfrun. I feel like it's right next to it on BB because it's just going to go, hey, you're dead.
I think Rogue Passage is good, but I think it's in C.
All right.
I think it's the top of C, though. I really do like this card a lot. I think it's very, very good. But it is a lot of investment. It's not just a mana sink where it's going to add more to your creature. It's is your creature already good?
Right.
And sneaking it through will be good. Kessig doesn't require anything.
It adds the power.
If you have a 1/1 and you need to put mana in, you're good. But it's like if you have a 1/1 with this, it's not as good. Still a great card. I'm very happy with this, especially lower power, budgets, 2 thumbs up. Any commander that is relying on commander damage, I'm in for this. I really like you already want your commander to sneak through, get hits in. You want to be beating over and over again. So why not add a way to just, no, you can't block this. There's no chance in a land slot. Very good card.
It protects you from those weird draws where it's like, oh, man, I pumped up my commander, but I didn't give it evasion. It's like, here you go. It's going to be clunky. You might have to skip a whole turn or two, but you're killing people with it. Strip Mine. All right, this is a pretty good Magic card. It's tap, sack, destroy a land. Any land, whatever you want. You can loop this. You can recur it. You can just keep destroying lands over and over. They don't get anything out of it. This is your classic, best possible 1-for-1 land removal.
I'm going to pair it up with Wasteland, which only hits non-basics.
Basically the same thing.
These are S tier. I mean, I think these are absolute necessities of almost every single deck. I mean, if I always had enough Strip Mines, all my decks would have Strip Mines. Yeah. But I run out of Strip Mines. That's why it doesn't end up in every deck.
You know what? This kind of might be above Mystic Sanctuary too, because Strip Mine can also win you the game.
Yes, there are. When you play Crucible Worlds,
Azusa,
that is something you can set up early game. Like, it is legitimately something you can set up early game. So Crucible Worlds, Azusa, Strip Mine. All right, I can just keep everyone off of lands for the rest of the game.
And it's not like we're playing, we're advocating for like Armageddon land destruction type. But in the late games, when you're assembling like critical mass nonsense, anything goes with this. You're allowed to play Strip Mine. It's not a super mega feel bad because you're only going to use it in times of need. Except, hey, Lord Windgrace, I got 3 ways to do it. So, in the next turn, it's like, all right, that's the way to win the game.
I got 7 extra land drops.
7, wow.
I don't know. I think I've had like 5 or 6 before.
All right. You got your Naked Dry Boys. You got your Explorers.
Yeah, so they pile up sometimes. What can you do?
All right, Thespian stage. It enters untapped. 2 tap. Becomes a copy of target land. So you're not going to get like ETBs, which rarely matters, but it's going to be the best land on the battlefield, even if you don't control it. But can you predict what they're going to have? Or should you just play it if you want to copy your own lands?
Yeah, you should only play it if you want to copy your own lands. This card is okay, but it is very niche. You really want to make sure you want to have lands to copy.
Like the ones on this list.
There's a lot that you want to copy, but some of them are redundant effects. Like, you don't want to copy a Rogue's Passage.
Right.
You don't want to copy a Reliquary Tower.
Alchemist Refuge isn't going to help you.
Yeah, it's not going to help you at all. So I think this is just a C. It's a good card. It definitely fits in, again, just it's niche. Specific decks, I'm not super excited about it overall. It's really good with your when you're tutoring up lands all the time.
Right. When your toolbox, when you can replay this, when you can just do all sorts of nonsense with it, then it's cool. They talk about there's like the combo with Dark Depths. I don't find that combo particularly scary in Commander, where it's like, okay, you have a 20/20, and like obviously it's huge and it's a 1 or 2 hit kill, but the setup and the punishment if you don't pull it off is just pretty high.
I mean, Thespian Sage it's like, you gotta talk about opportunity cost with it. Thespian Sage is a good card that you can just throw in, and it doesn't really have too much of a negative impact on your deck. But Dark Depths is not that, because it does not tap for mana.
That's a brick, yeah.
It's a brick, and it doesn't do anything until you put 38,042 mana into it.
Yeah, what is it? You spend 30, I think, to remove the 10 ice counters.
It's insane.
Yeah, obviously don't do that.
Don't do that.
It's not a winning strategy.
It's not a winning
You might as well just Helix Pinnacle them at that point. Urza's Saga. This is a good Magic card. It's an enchantment land. The first chapter says it taps for mana. Great. Then you can pay 2 and tap to make an XX Karn struct, where X is the number of artifacts you control. Okay. Then the third step is you sacrifice it and you go find an artifact with mana cost exactly 0 or 1 and put it into play.
Okay, this is an easy S tier again. This card is so stupid. Just make sure it's good in your deck. It's not, obviously this isn't the card you're throwing in every deck. This isn't the card you're going crazy with, but the fact of the matter is, like you said, Soul Ring and Mana Crypt exist in this format. What are
Skull Clamps. That's his Divining Top.
It's absolutely free. The things you can get are insanity. Things that are basically banned in every format of Magic except for Commander.
Yeah, the fact that this is a tutor and it asks nothing of you, and it doesn't even put you down a land like in the other formats where people might stray away from it. It's like, oh, it puts you down a land. It's like, no. It just goes and finds Soul Ring, and then it puts you up mana. It's like this land just turns into Ancient Tomb. It is really good, and some decks really want to be pooping out card structs, and you can make 2 with this card. Whew, it's just a lot of dials and knobs to turn on a land that just enters untapped.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't ask for much more out of a land than this. This has like a million different effects. Its weakness is an enchantment. It can't be blown up by a lot.
It might get swept up, and then you don't get to search for that artifact that'll break you even.
Yeah. Next, Valakut, the mythical.
Here's what you want Thespian stage.
I love this card. I think
Me
this
too.
is, well, to start off, I think it's an A. It's a very, very good card. It does require a very strict mana base that is lots and lots of mountains. Usually basic mountains, because you're just going to... I think it's the mono red card. But the fact of the matter is, mono red mana bases become built to play this because of how good it is. I give up Field of the Dead. This is better than Field of the Dead. When it's going off, this is better than Field of the Dead for sure.
Yeah.
Bolting something, just going crazy.
Or face.
It's so good. I've been nothing but impressed with it. I put it in the deck and I was like, I don't really know what's going to perform. I'm going to build my mana base to do this, but I don't know what I'm going to see. And I have been so happy with it.
I mean, decks build to have this card as a win condition. I mean, it goes in 3-color, 4-color, 5-color decks because they're just going to say, I'm going to play Naked Dryad Boy, I'm going to play Prismatic Omen, and then I'm going to scape shift, maybe with 1 or 2 Valakuts out with like Vesuva and stuff, to just machine gun down everybody else, or even like reshape the Earth. It's like, go find 10 lands, they're all mountains, great. GG's. I mean, I could see an argument for bottom of S, since kind of like Field of the Dead, it's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll resculpt my entire mana base to make this work, sure.
Yeah, I mean, let's put it at top of A. I think it's a fair top of A card. This card is really good, and this enters tapped. I mean,
yeah.
But also, big upside, it tests for colored mana. Most of these do not. This is a colored mana tapper.
So does Halimar Depths. Should we move that one up?
No, why don't we move it? Can we move it down?
There's only one tier.
Move it down.
There's no tier below poop.
No, move it down.
Oh, you mean like that?
Yeah. Do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go to the last one. Last but not least, it's War Room. 3, tap, and pay life equal to the colors in your commander's color identity. Draw a card. Whew. So 1 and 2 color decks only, really. But this is like white card draw. This is red card draw. It just sits there until you need it. And whenever you have mana to spend or you need to dig for something, it just draws a card. And the paying life is nothing because we start at 40.
Oh, absolutely. I love this card a lot. This is, I feel like a B tier. It's hanging out around that Reliquary Tower, I feel. Where it's,
right next to Command Beacon feels good.
It's a very good card. I mean, the fact of the matter is, your 1 and 2 color decks, this is a low cost. It's drawing a land slot. It doesn't ask for you to have anything on the battlefield, like something like a Bonder's Enclave might.
It asks nothing of you.
It asks how many colors you're playing when you activate it, and you lose some life. Totally worth it. Absolutely amazing in colorless decks, obviously. Mm-hmm. And it's losing the life is minimal. We're in Commander. We have extra life. We start at 40 for some reason.
Yeah, it's a staple.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else. Okay, let's get big. I was going the opposite way.
Yeah, you really should go up when we get big.
Yeah, well, we have gotten big. And now that we're big, we want to tell you to go check out some of our other tier lists. BZ, just awkwardly get rid of the computer.
It's gone now.
Yeah, wow. There's lots of other tier lists we've done. Why don't you check out our counterspell tier list from a few weeks ago? One we really enjoyed doing, and people seem to enjoy watching it. So go check it out. Peace out, Tribe Scouts.
Bye.